Welcome to problem number 18 from the August 2017 Geometry Regents exam. This question here deals with the altitude on hypotenuse theorem. So if you're unfamiliar with that, you may want to research it a bit, but there are a couple important pieces of information you get from it. So whenever you have an altitude drawn to the hypotenuse of a right triangle, which, in this case, they're assuming that KLM is a right triangle, one of the results that happens is that the length of that altitude squared, so I've labeled in the diagram an h, so the altitude squared is equal to x times y, x being this distance here, and y being this distance here. So for example, we could test out to see if option number 4 is correct. So if ln, our altitude height, is 8, then 8 squared would have to be equal to x times y, which, okay, so it says here if nm equals 10, so from here to here is 10, that would mean from here to here is 6, because it must add up to 16. So x times y would be 6 times 10, which is 60. And that is not the same as 8 squared, 64. So therefore, option number 4 would not result in a right triangle. Now, the other important piece of information the altitude on hypotenuse theorem tells us is, and again, using the variables I've created here, that a squared is going to equal y times c. So this distance squared is going to equal y times c, which is that entire distance across there. So, for example, we could test that out using option number 2 here, because we're being told that LM, our A, is 12, and NM, so the distance from here to here, is 9. So to test this out, our A squared is, so A is 12. So 12 squared equals y times c, so our y value is 9, multiplied by our c value, which is that total distance across, which is 16. And 144 equals 9 times 16, which also happens to be 144. So because these two are correct and equal to each other, that proves that these lengths would result in a right triangle because the altitude on hypotenuse theorem works. So for this video, I'm not going to bother showing how the other two options, number 1 and number 3, do not work. Hopefully you'd be able to figure that out on your own. All right, that's all for this video, and thanks for visiting JD's Regents Preparation.